Hey, good morning and happy Friday from AlphaWolfTrading.com, coming at you with this week's Free Friday pre-market prep with stocks to watch for trading and investing. Saw a little bit of weakness this morning, has already kind of evaporated. We got a couple of events that have happened, with one with North Korea and one over there in England right now, and the market seems to be kind of shaking it off. This is quadruple witching today, so it could be an interesting day in terms of volume and volatility. We'll see how it plays out. Um, I'm going to go over a few stocks that I'm watching this morning off of press releases from last night and this morning. Some sectors that I think are looking pretty interesting. This is something I do each and every morning for the pro members over at Alpha Wolf Trading. If you are interested or like what I do here, come check us out and email me because we are running a kind of a little secretive promotion over at Alpha Wolf Trading. You can email me at tim at alphawolftrading.com to get the details. So let's just go ahead and get right into it and take a look at what we've got coming up. So PLSE had a nice little pop yesterday, good snapback rally on the rising volume after a pretty swift little sell off there. Uh, may have a red to green move on this one, right? And come up and test this trend line. Now it could continue to head lower. It's below the 200-day moving average, but nice volume surge, nice little snapback. See if maybe get a red to green move. More of a day trading opportunity here than a swing or investment. But 11 million shares in the float and 17% short interest. Worth keeping an eye on. PLSE. MBOT. So, full disclosure, I am already in MBOT. Um, One has been acting as pretty clear support level. MBOT had a little bit of news this morning, um, and they have an event coming up at late September where they're going to be releasing some data. Microbot Medical granted Indian patent for TipCat, so it got a patent award. You know, that is not really a huge significant event, but sometimes these little bios will get a pop off of that type of news. We'll see what happens here. Like I said, $1 appears to be acting as a good area of support. We'll see if this gets any kind of play today. Only 17 million shares in the float and 13% short interest, so could get interesting. Like I said, event coming up late September where they're going to release some data, so maybe this gets some action. Just had a recent volume surge, pull back. We'll see if this one holds a support. If it doesn't hold the support, or let's put it this way: if it closes below $1, maybe I would look to get out of my position. If it just pierces the dollar, tries to do a head fake shake, I might stick around. Depends on where it closes. So, and I don't have a huge position in MBOT. It's just got a little, I guess you could call it lotto position there. So, worth keeping an eye on it. See if it gets any action today off of that news of the patent. All right. So let's see. There was another one. Let me pull up the whole list of stocks that I was keeping an eye on here this morning. Uh, do do do. Kang. They had earnings last night. Now this has got a really good looking setup on the daily, right? Had a big pop, nice multi-day run, consolidating, building out a base. Appears to be, 14 appears to be kind of holding as price support. I mean, it's pierced through there a couple of times. Let's call it 1350, right? 1350 likely to be good price support. Now this is overbought. Um, but they reported earnings look like a beat on top and bottom line. It got a little bit of action in pre-market, not a whole lot. Um, got up to almost, let's see, 1480, right? 1488. Got the 200-day overhead. So you got a couple of things happening here. You potentially take out the 200-day, you take out the $15 holla, right? And you take out this trend line, right? So you got a lot going on here. You got a double bottom down here. Um, this could be a swing, could be a long-term hold. Like I said, it looked like they had a pretty good earnings beat. I probably want to listen to the conference call, learn more about it, about the company before I went and got involved with any kind of a long-term hold position. But this is got a pretty interesting setup on the daily time frame. Maybe if it pulls back, you look to pull back into the $14 area, maybe even just below at 13.90 or so. See if that holds a support. Could be an entry. Um, but this has got a really, really good looking setup. Looking for a trend line break and a break over the 200-day and the $15 holla with volume. So it could be a day trade if you get that. Could be a higher risk swing on a pull to support, but worth keeping an eye on it. RMTI. So this one looking at potential support at $6. We've got some potential price support there. Had some news this morning. So no, it was last night actually. Um, Maybe it was a couple days ago, but gave an update. You know, they're going to be, uh, I believe, submitting. What are they doing? Commercial launch status, potential bounce playoff, $6. All right, so it looks as though they are going to submit their plan for potential launch to the FDA, their commercialization plans. We're submitting those at the end of September, and then they expect to launch 30 days after. So this is acting as support here, looking for a trend line break. Almost have a death cross going on here. So this one you got to be a little bit careful of. If it takes out that trend line, I think potentially you get a pop up into the 670, 680, maybe even a 7 test, and then maybe you pull back, right? So looking for a 7 test. You break through 7, could get really interesting on this one. So potential day trade, definitely a higher risk swing if you were to try and take this. Probably look to take as close to 6 as possible, and then you put your stop. Um, Maybe at 575, 574, somewhere in that area. But you're looking for, you're risking what, 25 cents if you get it at 6, and you're looking to try and make at least a buck, right? Or 50 cents to a dollar. So you got 2 to 1 risk reward on that. Pretty nice look on RMTI if 6 can hold the support. MRTX, which is gapping this morning, had the news last night is phase 2 data. Um, this had a beautiful setup, man, on the daily, right? It had consolidated at the 200-day, busted above it, pulled back, uh, right to support, and then we get this news out. It's only got 18 million shares in the float, and not a big short interest, but this one could be in play all day today. It got up to almost $10 last night and pulled back. I was looking at pre-market lows last night, or I should say pre-market lows, but pre-market or post-market support could be somewhere around $7.50, 7.48. On the daily, looking at maybe 7.20, $7 as being support, right? Uh, right now it's sitting at about $8.65, but I think maybe you watch this to see how it acts at 7.50 for support. I would be looking at this only as a day trade. It does appear as though they probably need some cash, likely to do a capital raise, but I think first day of the pop, maybe you get some aggressive shorts in this right out of the chute, especially if you see some weakness, and then we see some kind of a nice bounce. So keep an eye on this one. I think it could be in play today for sure. Let's see what else we got. Let me get. All right, so I do like uh, this space, and I'm looking at this space more as a swing or long-term hold. Rail. This is Railroads, we're gonna have these rebuilding efforts down in Houston and in Florida, and I think the rails likely will benefit from that. So it's a space that I like. I happen to like rail quite a bit. It's tried to break out over this flag pattern yesterday and didn't get the follow through. Was unable to stay above 1825, let's call it. But it's been consolidating basing in this area for a while. We had a shakeout here where we pulled back to the 200 day. Nice reversal candle there, popped up, and then we've been drifting back, and we're back within this channel. So, I mean, look, on a pullback to 1650, I think it would be a good consideration for a swing entry, or maybe even a long-term hold consideration. On a break over 18, 30 with conviction, maybe you look for a scalp opportunity and a retest of the $20 holla. So a couple of things. I mean, this has only got 12 million shares in the float. This is a tiny floater. Uh, you know, Only traded 68,000 shares yesterday. So just keep that in mind. You've got to have some volume if you're going to try and trade this for a day trade scalp, right? You want to see 300,000 shares trading hands. Don't be jumping in this thing if it's only traded 10,000 shares within the first 2 hours of the open. So be careful, and remember, options expiration quadruple witching, so we could see some strange volume, but no price action really. So be aware of that as well. So rail, I like that one, and if you look at the whole space, CSX, right? Uh, where you have the director that picked up 1.4 million shares at $50.64. You got CEO picked up 300,000 shares at $50.20. It's got a pretty decent look here, consolidating over the 50-day moving average. And then look at KSU, another one in the railroad space that looks pretty hot, right? And these are long-term hold considerations or swings. This is overbought, right? They're overbought, so maybe they take a pause, but I do like this space, and I think it's definitely worth having on your radar. Another space that I happen to like is the shippers, and because of the same kind of thesis, right? I mean, this has been a beaten up sector for so long, and with all these rebuilding efforts, you're going to have to bring in some. I think you're going to have to ship in some stuff, right? So. TNK announced today that they are um, going to do a share buyback, right? And really, frankly, share repurchase programs announced by companies don't do a whole lot for me. I'm much more interested in insider buys than I am what the company says that they might buy. They're not obligated. They don't have to do it. They can announce a share buyback with the intent of just giving the stock a little boost. Who knows? Uh, when I see insiders stepping up and digging into their own pocket and picking up shares, that's when I get really interested. But TNK, for a potential day trading opportunity off of the news, maybe we see a break, maybe we come up here and test the 50-day moving average, maybe we take out that trend line. If we do so, maybe get a pop up into the buck 70, buck 80 area. Worth keeping an eye on it. It does look as though maybe we're basing. The other one I like in the space is Salt. Oops, SALT. Right. This one just pierced the 200-day. They announced a $50 million share repurchase program. Had a little snapback, reclaimed the 200-day. Maybe we look for a bounce off the $7 there. 36 million shares in the float, right? Not big float. So could be interesting. Keep an eye on Salt, and one that I am currently in the shipping is NAO, which actually has a pretty good looking setup on the daily time frame. It had a nice little pop, pull back, and it's flagging out again just below the 200-day. Looking for it to go up and test that 200-day, maybe take it out. But I do like that space, and I think it's worth keeping an eye on that as well. Nvidia and AMD, talked about those briefly this morning in the live session with the pro members. Nvidia, it's a beautiful look, right? Semis looking strong, beautiful look on Nvidia. Saw some recent weakness because of this Bitcoin stuff that's going on, but I don't think this is going to go away. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go away. Um, I don't think the blockchain technology, all that stuff, is going to go away. I think it's here to stay. AMD, I think, is kind of interesting because it's pulled back to the 200-day moving average. These are big, thick stocks. More swing or long-term hold type plays. Uh, Nvidia has some decent range. I mean, you could play it for a day trade if you like, but I look at these really as more of long-term hold type plays. Nvidia is not as thick as AMD. AMD is big, thick stock, right? Uh, Nvidia's got almost half a billion shares. I mean, so it's thick too. That's why I consider those more long-term hold or swing trade opportunities, but worth keeping an eye on. Both of those. LPTH, full disclosure, I own it. I held it into earnings. Oh my God, can't believe you did that. Um, I like the space that they're in. They reported 117% increase in operating income. They beat on the top and the bottom line. Uh, it's in an interesting space. Stochastic starting to curl up. It is gapping up a little bit this morning. I want to see a three test and roll. Is what I want to see on this. Um, we'll see if we get that today. Get any kind of real action here. I'm going to listen to the conference call on this. I have not done so yet, but I will be listening to the conference call and see. This only got 9.3 million shares in the float and 10% short interest. So this one has squeezability, right? And especially if they give some good guidance. Let's see if we get a three test and roll on LPTH. Another one kind of in the same space is OCLR, which just got a upgrade from Raymond James, $12 price target. Uh, DA Davison gave it an upgrade to 14 in June. There's speculation these guys could be a takeout candidate. This could be a swing on a pullback. I would like to see it get involved at around 850. Um, or close to 8 would even be great, better, right? 822 or so. And looking for it to take out the 50-day moving average, 200-day moving average eventually. Um, but this, like I said, could be a swing or a day trade. 144 million shares in the float, 32% short interest there. So it could get squeezy if it really gets some momentum. TRQ and FCX. Going to go over those real quick. These are probably swing or long-term hold considerations because of the thick stocks. This has got 2 billion shares in the float. TRQ. It's got an upgrade this morning. Um, it's pulled back to three. I mean, as close to $3 as an entry. I think this could be really interesting. Like I said, more of a long-term hold. It's approaching oversold. And again, I go back to the rebuilding efforts in, you know, Florida and Houston. Copper, you know, thinking copper wire and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think that this is pretty compelling and definitely more, like I said, more of a swing type entry. You gotta have a reverse head and shoulders pattern here, inverted head and shoulders. Now we could be forming a head and shoulders pattern here, right? Maybe we got to form this other shoulder, but I think this has got a pretty compelling look, and I like the space. So worth keeping an eye on TRQ for a swing or long-term hold consideration with close to a $3 entry. FCX got an upgrade with an $8 price target, same space, right? Also 1.3 billion shares in the float, so that makes this more of a consideration for swing or long-term hold. Now you could be putting in a head and shoulders top there, right? Um, but oversold, sitting on the 200-day moving average for potential support. I mean, you've got a pretty clearly defined risk reward setup in FCX. I think it's worth keeping an eye on both of those, TRQ and FCX, for potential swing or long-term hold positions. TNXP had some news, got a patent out of Europe, I believe. This already had a big run. It's got a little bit of a pop off of this news. It's overbought. It's already had a nice run. Um, could be a day trade consideration here. Maybe pull back to 380 or so, see if that holds support. 387. Maybe get a bounce. Try to take out the 200 day, or maybe just go up and tag the 200 day. Uh, I would be looking at that one only as a day trade, um, and that's it. All right, let me see what else I've got going on here. RMTI, MRTX. I think that's it. I think that's everything that we took a look at this morning. I'm going to get this out, and good luck trading today. Do not chase. Have a plan for each and every trade. If you like what I do, sign up. Go to Alpha World Trading and sign up to have weekly stocks to watch videos sent directly to your email every single week for free. So, good luck trading out there. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you all next week.